first lesson, we are going to talk about yarn. And depending on where you live, yarn can be slightly different. I don't want to confuse you too much, but so I'll try and keep it simple. This is a very popular brand in America, and I am actually sponsored by Red Heart Yarn, so I'd like to say a huge thank you for them for supplying the yarn for this video. This is a worsted weight yarn, and that is a very common thickness if you live in America. So we'll have a look down here, because I have followers from all around the world, so we want to just try and cover everybody. So you can see here, there is a medium weight and it is a number 4 yarn. In Australia, we don't have this type of numbers for our yarn. We do it in a different way, but I did want to cover both ways. So you can see here it's a number 4 weight yarn. So that means it's the thickness of the yarn. It is you need to use, there's a crochet hook here, so you need to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or an I or a 9 size hook. It'll just, when you look at your hook, it will have 1 or 2, maybe both of those letters and numbers, but definitely a 5.5 or an I or a 9 size crochet hook. If you're going to knit, it's also got what you need on that one. So this is a number 4 weight yarn. This is equivalent, if you're in Australia or in England, that is equivalent to a 10 ply in Australia or around about an Aran weight yarn in England. So this is a regular thickness of yarn that you might use in America. Here in Australia, I've got, this is a, excuse the state of the yarn ball there. This is a Australian company. It is called Spotlight. I'm not sponsored by Spotlight, but this is one of their regular yarns that they have. So that's the brand name, 4 Seasons, and Marvel is the line, and we have 8 ply. To an American, that's going to mean a really huge thick yarn, but in Australia, just to confuse you, this is the regular thickness of yarn that we use, an 8 ply. You could use 4 ply in Australia, but a 4 ply in America is actually this thickness here. But I won't confuse you with that until we get further on into learning how to crochet. So you can see here there's a slight difference. This is thicker than this one. This is the American regular size yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn. And here we have a 8 ply, which is the Australian yarn. And this is known as a light worsted weight yarn in America, or also a number 3. I do have a conversion chart located on my website, and I will put the link for that in the description box, which is below the video down there. Just click on the see more, or there might be a drop down arrow, just click on that and that will show you all my links, which converts the American terminology to the Australian or the English terminology. And so to read a yarn label, you've got the brand and you've got what it is. So that's an 8 ply. Let's see what it says on the American. You've got the brand, you've got the line, and their number is what you're going to look for. That is your thickness of yarn. And in Australia, your 8 ply is your thickness of yarn. Sometimes it may not have 8 ply written on it. So if you spin it around, this is really hard to read because who puts white lettering on a light background? But if you can see it, just there, it says 4 millimeter crochet hook. Anything that uses a 4 millimeter crochet hook is an 8 ply yarn. Also on our label, it will have washing instructions, and it will tell you how much is in the ball. So this one has 270 meters. I'm not sure what that is in yards. And if we just swap back to the Red Heart ball, it also has the meterage and they have the yards as well. And this is the weight. So a 7-ounce ball of yarn is 198 grams. And if I just swap back to the Australian one, you'll see that this is 100 grams. So this is pretty much half the size of a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. So it'll tell you how much it weighs, and this is really good if you have a pattern and it tells you how much yarn you're going to need. You're also going to have the barcode And you could have a yarn colour, sometimes it's a number like this, or sometimes it's an actual word. I know with the Red Heart Super Saver ones, the American ones, they have names, and the cream colour in the American one that we just showed you is called Aran. And you're going to have a lot number, so this is really handy if, let's say, you've got a project and you need 5 balls of yarn. You're going to look for your lot number, and this one is number 11. So make sure that all of the yarn balls that you buy have that same lot number. And what that means is this ball of yarn and everyone else, not people, every other ball of yarn that has the same number on it was dyed at exactly the same time. It's called a dye lot number, and it comes in very handy because sometimes if this was a different batch, say this batch with all the 11 will be dyed in the same batch. If it was a different batch, let's say it's number 13, it could be slightly different in colour. Even though it's still the same colour number, it may be slightly different in colour. So if you're making a project and you've added in that different number, you can get an obvious colour change in your project. So that's about the information I can tell you on yarn balls. So next time you're in a shop that sells yarn, have a look at different ones, have a look at different thicknesses. So if you're in Australia, there's 8 ply, there's 4 ply, there's 10 ply, 12 ply, there's quite a lot of different ones. In America, you can have a look, where's our numbers gone? And also if you can have a look at the numbers and have a look at ones with different numbers on them, so you can see, okay, well, a number 6 will be thicker than a number 4. Like the higher the number, the thicker the yarn. So if you find one with a number 1 or a 2, that's going to be a lot finer than a number 4 yarn, which is what we've got here. Another thing I want to talk about in our first lesson is crochet hooks. I have quite the collection. I would say probably around 40 or 50 crochet hooks. Yes, I know that's ridiculous, but I have been crocheting for 20 years. I've bought ones that I started when I first started and I maybe don't like anymore because I've used other crochet hooks. So there are all different types. So the regular crochet hook that most beginners were given, which is what I was given, is these metal ones that don't have any handles, and there's nothing wrong with these. In the thicker ones, I still do use the ones without the handles. But with the thinner crochet hooks, in these just metal ones, the handles are quite small, and I find, maybe it's because I'm getting older, maybe it's because I've been crocheting a long time, that they give me hand cramps. So I personally wouldn't recommend these for beginners, but if this is all you got, then it's going to be perfectly fine. The next one we got here, so this is basically the blue crochet hook. It's in a different size. Oh no, it's the same size. You can see here we've got our millimeters. There's the letter. And that's the number, the American number, so 10.5. And the K are American numbers. And generally in Australia, we go by the 6.5. The 6.5 millimeter. If you've got a pattern, it may only say a letter, so that one's got that all on there. But you can see with this one, it doesn't. It only has a 6.5. What's on the other side? Nothing. So the conversion chart that I do have on my website is really good. So you can convert, if you needed to convert it to a letter, you can just look the number up and quickly change it over. I still have to use mine. I do know some of the regular sizes I use off the top of my head, but not all of them, so it comes in handy quite a bit. So this red crochet hook has been given a handle. So this is polymer clay, I don't know how to say that properly. And the handle has been made. This was made by a beautiful friend. I treasure this crochet hook. So the handle has been added, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to hold on to. So our next crochet hook, these are in no particular order either, by the way. They've just been put on the bench. My next crochet hook is a tulip crochet hook. I do have an affiliate link in the description box of this video, which is down here. Oh look, matchy matchy. These tulip hooks, these are my favourite. These and the clover crochet hooks, which is this one here, but I'll talk about that in a minute. They're my favourite ones. And also these are a cheap version, these ones here, and they're actually quite good too. So tulip hooks can be quite expensive. I would say in Australian dollars around $15 to $20 each. That sounds like a lot of money, but if you're investing in a lot of crochet time, you want to get good tools. There's nothing worse than having horrible tools to do the job. So you can see this one has a number. So number 7 is an American number. I'm not sure what the 0 is. I don't know. Does anybody know? You can leave a comment if you do. And here we have the 4mm. So I generally go by the millimeters, but I know a lot of Americans, they go by the number. So if you aren't new to crochet, what do you go by? Let me know. So then we've got this one. This brand, I think it was Knit Pro. Can't remember. This one only has the number written on it. And you can see this one has sort of a flat handle, where this one is more rounded. I think they're about the same length. The tulip one is slightly longer. So these are a good crochet hook as well. They are cheaper in price. I can't remember how much this cost me, but it is budget friendly. I don't use this style as much. I don't find that this is comfortable with me, but this may be comfortable with you, so give them a go if you see them. This is a definitely budget friendly crochet hook. I've had this from when I very first started. It came in a set of, I think, 5 different crochet hooks, and the number on this is really hard to see. What does that say? 11.5? Really hard to see. Yeah, 11.5. You can see it's all scratched and well loved. This is really good if you've got a thick yarn or a couple of strands of yarn together, because it's a thicker crochet hook. You can see the end here is massive. So the number, the millimeter, is the thickness of your crochet hook. So you can see the 11.5 is much thicker than the 4.5. I've got this one here. This is a timber crochet hook. I can't tell you where I bought this because I have no idea. And it does not even have a size on it. I haven't used this one very often, but you can get the timber ones. So this one is a Clover crochet hook. I'm not taking this one out of the packet because it's for a class I'm doing, and this is one of their starter gifts in the starter kit. So this is a 4mm crochet hook. You can see this one has the rounded handle like the tulip hook. Let's see, size wise, pretty much the same. You can see in the size there, pretty much the same. Personally, I prefer the Clover hooks and the tulips, but that's just my own opinion. People sometimes prefer just the metal hooks. It's just what you feel comfortable with. I wouldn't recommend buying a whole set at first. I would recommend buying one and seeing how you like them. Some people don't like these crochet hooks. If you would like to grab yourself a Clover crochet hook, I will put a website across the screen. Chantel from Fiberific is great, and she's a good friend of mine and sells these crochet hooks, and that's exactly where I bought this one. So pop on over and see Chantel. She can fix you up with some crochet hooks. So these two here, these are from a set. I got them on Amazon. I will put the link below for you if you would like to purchase them. They're definitely budget friendly, and I thought I'm going to buy them, test them out to see how I like them and how they compare to my favourite, which is the tulip, which is the pink one, and the clovers, which is that purple one there. How they compare to those. As you can see, these ones only have 4 and a 5.5mm written on them, so they don't have the American sizing written on them like the letters. So you can see here the tulip hook does have the American numbers, and the Clover crochet hook has a letter, so it's a G size, and it's a 4mm. So if you're first starting out, these are probably better. Or if you've got your conversion chart, you can just look at it and then just convert those numbers over. But I've been using these for a couple of months, just these, not my Clover or tulips, to see if I like them. And I'll tell you what, they're really good. I don't get any hand cramps. They're very comfortable for my hands, and they do the job. So what else can you ask for? So those are our crochet hooks. As you can see, I've got a collection of all different crochet hooks there. And my favourites to use are tulips, which is the pink one, the Clover, which is the purple one, but then also these cheap ones. Like I said, I will put a link for you below. It is an affiliate link, which what that means is if you make a purchase via that link on anything on Amazon, including crochet hooks, I get a teeny tiny kickback, and it helps me keep my videos and written patterns going for you. So thanks in advance if you make a purchase. So that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed that. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and I've also got a website, and all the details that you need are on the screen. And there will also be links in the description box. Thanks for watching, and happy crochet!